Groovy Xilonen will lay down the beat on your enemies, and today I'm here to tell you how to build her best. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. So what artifacts does this crafty cat desire? None other than 4-piece Hero of Cinder City. This set's pretty straightforward. A tidy front-loaded 40% damage bonus to whatever element you end up crystallizing with her. Because she herself is Geo, this means that the damage bonus will always go to Geo plus whichever element she kicks. So make sure that the right element is applied to the enemy before she kicks. Good stuff. However, if you already have a Cinder user in your teams, then 4-piece Archaic Petra is a sublime pick too. You're only losing out on 5% damage bonus when choosing this over Cinder City. Its main downside is that you actually have to pick up the Crystallized Shard in order to proc the buff. But because Xilonen's field time is already so short, this isn't much of a sacrifice to make in all honesty. 2-piece mix and match sets include 2-piece Night Soul Energy, Def %, and if you really need it, ER %. As for Xilonen's main stats, simple. Go for Def or ER %, Def %, Def %, or Healing %, or Crit %. I actually wouldn't advise going for ER unless you actively feel the need to use her burst in a given team. A lot of the time, you can just skip using it because all it does is heal, but if you need that, then sure, build ER. The only other stat that she wants to build is defense % anyway, so you might as well. But if you have her signature weapon, then going triple def would be preferable. However, if you manage to get a lot of def % rolls and substats, you can actually reach your signature weapon stat goals while running ER, def %, crit %. And that's another thing. You go healing % to maximize her healing, or crit % if you want easier fav procs or a tiny bit of additional contribution from her. She's so flexible in terms of how you can build her main stats, to the point where she becomes easily adaptable to suit whatever your needs are. As for Xilonen's stat goals, simple. You see, this unit doesn't actually have any fixed stat goals. Her only real stat requirement crops up if you give a DJ Cat her signature weapon, which then demands her having 3200 def, so that you can yield full value out of the buff. Otherwise, 180% ER is more than enough to cover for bursting consistently in all of her potential teams, and you could even go as low as 160% ER. However, you just don't really have to burst of her most of the time, unless it's a specific given scenario. And as for the crit stats, you can actually totally ignore these if you're not interested in building crit. You can just have that set as a side goal because she demands such minimal stats. Having some crit rate for fav procs is never a bad idea though. Genuinely one of the friendliest units to build. You can easily shuffle things around as you need. A DJ needs the right instruments for the job. So, what'll Xilonen's tools of choice be? None other than Peak Patrol Song. It literally says it in the name itself. This choice is peak for her. An insane def stick, while also expanding upon the amount of damage bonus that she can offer on the whole. If you meet her 3.2k def stat requirement, which as we've discussed already is very easy to do, then you can yield a tidy 25.6% extra damage bonus out of her. Easily her best in slot pick, no questions asked. Otherwise, go for Favonius. This is literally the de facto best in slot pick for any support unit in existence. It does what you'd think it'd do, gives your team white particles, and gives Xilonen herself a crud ton of ER. Building a crit rate circlet is advisable on this weapon. 100% her best in slot 4-star choice. Fluid of Epzitzel will be your free-to-play friendly choice, mostly because of the huge def % stick it provides. It just gives her more stats. Good cheap choice if you don't have any Favoniuses to spare. Other stat sticks such as Cinnabar Spindle will work fine too. You'd pretty much just be using them for the defense %. And yes, you can use crit weapons on her, but they're generally going to be wasted on a support with such minimal presence in terms of overall team damage output. Yet who shall dance to Xilonen's beats? Well, supporting hypercarry teams is easily going to be your best use case. She brings a ton of buffs to the table, and as long as there's at least 2 non-Geo Dendro Animo units in the team, the archetype will be able to benefit well. She's excellent to use with literally any non-Dendro or Animo DPS in the game. However, there are some specific synergies that she has which I'd like to highlight. Navia teams are the immediate thing that comes to mind. You see, she's the only character who's able to provide up to 36% freaking Geo Res Shred for her, and this boosts up Navia's performance by a ridiculous amount. If you're a main of a lovely Mafia leader, then goodness me, is this DJ Cat an excellent pull? 100% a good pull to make in such a case. Then there's my beloved Celestia killer team that I yap about so much. Essentially, Mr. Settle Down really enjoys having Xilonen on the team. She pushes his best in slot team to the next level with all of the insane res shred that she supplies. Pair that with all the damage bonus that you're getting from teammates, and it's safe to say that you've got yourself one of the nastiest teams that this game has to offer. Also, the high Primogen based investment path for this team is stupidly good, because Xilonen C2 caters to Novelette incredibly well. So if you choose to go the extra kilometer, then you've got something special on your hands. Definitely one of the best Xilonen use cases. Of course, there's our situation with Moika too. The honorary son of Caledon wants Night Soul consumption to occur in the team, so she can build up Fighting Spirit to fire off that blazingly powerful burst of hers. And what do you know? Xilonen can quickly consume 90 Night Soul points for fast skill kicks. They're a fantastic synergy for sure. Mualani also makes excellent use of a DJ Cat, as she, like any sane DPS would, really enjoys her buffs. However, part of why she enjoys her is because of how well her setups work with Mualani. Because the duration of her buffs is so long, you can slap the enemy with Hydro because Mualani's a Catalyst user, crystallize, and then do the rest of your rotation normally. This means that she is one of the comfiest characters that you can use with the Shark Surfer. Example teams include the Spina Leader, Xilonen, Bennett, Lady Farina. Settle down! Lady Farina, Kazuha, DJ Cat, Moika, Sitlolly, Bennett, the Groovy One, Mualani, Moika, Crazy Grandmother, Xilonen. I'd now like to touch on the double Hydro archetype. Essentially, Xilonen's amazing for these because of how a Res Shred is able to affect both the Hydro units and the main driver. This isn't really a problem that existed for Electro drivers, since Electro and Hydro coexist on enemies, but for the Pyro drivers such as Hu Tao, this is an absolute dream come true, because there's never any way to consistently apply Pyro to attain 4VV Res Shred in these teams, which means that said driver isn't reaching their full damage potential, but with Xilonen around, everyone gets a slice of the pie. She's best installed for all double Hydro teams, but Hu Tao in particular is very happy about this. I'd also like to give Ito a shout out, since this is actually the best way to use him in the current day. Slapping him on a double Hydro team with Xilonen on the end is unironically the most efficient way to use him these days, so if you're an Ito fan, then give this a spin. However, Noelle, the honorary Victoria housekeeping member, is here to steal the show like she always does. She's always been an excellent double Hydro unit, thanks to being able to provide fanfare for your healing while driving the team along, while offering her own personal damage which gets buffed up by the other teammates. Xilonen's an amazing addition to this team, as she's a significant upgrade to Noelle's personal damage, as she's able to shred Geo at the same time. Good stuff. Example teams include Hu Tao, Lady Farina, Yelan, Xilonen, Ito, our dearest Hydro Archon, Yelan, DJ Cat. Or you can run that same setup, but with Noelle instead. There's also Raiden, Double Hydro, and Xilonen. You get the idea. Yet how does this funky DJ Cat work? Well, her normal attacks will deal 3 simple physical strikes. Nothing much else to add here. As for her skill, if you have 2 non-Geo, Dendro, or Animo teammates in your comp, she'll do some quick kicks which proc a Red Shred buff when she fills up a Night Soul bar. You want to make sure to do these kicks when you have an element applied on the enemy for the sake of her best installed sets. If you use her skill for exploring purposes, then she'll put on some roller skates and cruise around the place. If you have more than 2 Geo, Dendro, or Animo members in your team, then she instead will do permanent Geo kicks. However, DPS Xilonen is rather weak by today's standards, so while it may have been barely passable before, I genuinely seriously advise against using it now. As for her burst, she'll launch off a sick beat, then heal whoever your active character is over time. If you don't need the heals that this offers, you can easily skip using her burst. As for Xilonen's Ascension passives, simple. Her A1 will either have her charge up her bar when she does her Red Shred kicks, or will power up her moves if she's unable to proc her Red Shred due to elemental teammate conditions. Pretty much an amplifier for either playstyle. When it comes to your A4, she'll proc Night Soul bursts when she maxes out her Night Soul gauge, and can get some extra def from teammates doing Night Soul bursts. Just a nice bonus to your kit more than anything else. As for the DJ Cat's talent priority, simple. Go for this. Her skill is what stores her Red Shred, and you can get up to 36% if you fully crown her skill. I'd say this is one of those talents that you should 100% aim to crown. Her burst can be ignored, but you can level it for the additional heals if you'd like. I'd advise leveling it to at least 6, since that's pretty cheap to do, but I wouldn't waste resources on leveling it beyond 8. Don't bother with her normal attacks, all of her relevant scalings lie within her skill. Xilonen's probably the greatest inventor that's ever graced that. I mean, shoot man, flying guns? It's understandable that you might be interested in funding such cutting-edge technology. So let's talk Constellations. This is literally just quality of life. I really wouldn't get this on its own. This is something you attain on the way to C2, because on its own, this is a pretty big waste of a C1. This C2 will transform the Celestia Killer Novelette team to another level, and it's also a generally fantastic C2 to have. Amazing C2, one of the few sources of HP % buffing that we have in the entire game, and is one of the best points of high Primogen based investment that you could take for either a Novelette or a C6 Lady Farina. This offers her 9% more Red Shred on her skill, which means you get 45% total if you have the ability crowned. Fire stuff. This is a pretty good C4 that'll increase your team's overall output, without you having to change how you play your DJ Cat. Good, but not needed. Plus 3 to your burst is completely worthless if I'm being entirely honest with you. I'd say you could just ignore this. This C6 turns her into a DPS, but to be real with you man, this is one of the weaker DPS C6s out there. I'd only aim for this if you're one of the biggest Xilonen simps on the planet, because as it stands, this really isn't all that. Not very strong in the whale meta either. A super skippable C6 among C6s. Getting her C2 first would actually be the wisest form of high Primogen based investment for her, especially if you main Novelette or C6 Lady Farina. Otherwise, if you can't go all the way, getting her signature is a good investment. You do find sticking to just Favonius down to C0 though. Invest as you see fit. Just promise me that you won't go chasing after her C1 by itself. This unit is easily one of the most future-proof supports in the entire game. She's ergonomic to build and will get the job done for you incredibly well. Good old reliable DJ Cat. I'd say that she's had enough time to prove her value, if you're someone that skipped her the first time around. There's no better time like the present, I'd say. So definitely check her out, even if just for the Navia or Celestia killer nonsense. Are you gonna be building Xilonen this time around, or is it a skip for you? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, I have a ZZZ second channel. Head on over and subscribe if you're interested in some fun, silly ZZZ content. Hopefully I should be uploading there more soon, considering that there's a lot to talk about in regards to 2.0. I'd also like to mention that I stream on Twitch. I stream once a week every week on Saturdays, starting from 3 PM UK time. Come along so we can play Wuthering Waves, ZZZ, and do some other fun stuff together. Hopefully this video was able to get your Xilonen forging our enemies' graves. This has been Juice, signing out, and this unit only has one flaw: not liking water. Shush! Water does have a taste. Fresh counts as a taste, Xilonen.